Hello, this is Pastor Manny welcoming you to the Beacon of Hope podcast. And I'm glad you're joining us for this third in a series for such a time, episodes in Esther. The first of this series was series number 158 for the year 2020. And then the second in the series was the episode number 160. Between those two is episode 159, which was a midweek service at Lighthouse Baptist Church, 2032 Cedar Hill Road in Lancaster, Ohio. And that message was entitled Some Philippians 4:8 Thinking on Incorruption. May I encourage you, if you only listen to that first episode of this series, which was episode number 158, if you only listen to it on its publication date, which was November 17th, which several of you did, may I encourage you to go back and re-listen to that before it was republished and better formatted and more information was put into it. Well, today, episode 161 is actually the third episode in this series for such a time, episodes in Esther, and today's is entitled Meeting the People. You remember that we were learning in Esther about a king by the name of Ahasuerus. In secular history, often called Xerxes, a very powerful king with a kingdom of over 2,100,000 square miles under his authority or dominion. He had held a 180-day festival showing the opulence, the power, the reach, and the wisdom of his kingdom. What an incredible festival, what an incredible display of pride. And during this, or rather at the culmination of this great festival, he had summoned his queen, Vashti, to come from the court of the women, and he basically was going to parade her out and show her off to his princes and such. There had been drinking involved, and the king's heart was merry with wine. And of course, anytime booze is involved, there was trouble. And the queen was told to come out and parade herself before all these men. She refused to. My, did that cause a stir. The princes and such underneath King Ahasuerus said, "We can't allow this to happen." He said, "If your wife refuses to do what you tell her, then all our wives will refuse to do what we tell them, and we'll have an uprising in the kingdom." That kind of tells you the state of things between men and women in that particular kingdom. They weren't exactly healthy, were they? But in any case, the king and those who advised him, they passed a law, and Queen Vashti, the end of it was that she was removed from her place of authority. Her estate or all that she owned was taken away, and she basically was put into exile. Well, today we begin in the book of Esther, and we begin looking at in chapter 2, verse 1, we begin looking at what happens as an aftermath, if you will, of Queen Vashti being removed. I begin reading for you in verse 1. It says, "After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, Let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Haggai, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. Now, Mordecai is a major factor in the rest of the book of Esther. And so we want to pay attention to him carefully with this. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, the king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther. Now, Hadassah is the Jewish name. It means myrtle. It refers to a myrtle tree or a myrtle branch. It has to do with blessing. It has to do with God's presence. Her name was also given as Esther, which means a star. It says that he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther. You're going to know her as Esther, and of course the book is entitled Esther. His uncle's daughter. She was his cousin. Important to understand. Esther is actually Mordecai's younger cousin. His uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. So she was an orphan. Esther was an orphan child who was the younger cousin of Mordecai. And the maid was fair and beautiful. She was a very attractive young lady, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So there we see the relationship. Mordecai had raised her as a father. He loves her very much. She obviously, this will be evident throughout the book, respects and loves him very much. And so here we have this dynamic in play. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Hegai, that Esther was brought also into the king's house, to the custody of Hegai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. We find Esther's personality comes into play here. She is very pleasant and very pleasing. This keeper is dealing with a lot of young women, but Esther is such in her conduct that she strikes him as a lady, and she strikes him in as a pleasing way, and he shows preferential treatment and takes good care of her with that. Then in verse 10, Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. Mordecai understood political intrigue. He understood the way the kingdom ran. And he had told Esther, do not tell people you're a Jew. When you go there, do not tell people you're a Jew. Just keep that quiet. Don't say anything about that. You just go and don't reveal that. And she had obeyed him. Verse 11, and Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her. Here you see the courteous solicitude, the father-like heart of Mordecai towards Esther. He loves her, and he's every day checking on her. Oh, what's happening to her is outside of his control. It's by the king's command, but he's involved, and his training, which he's put into her, and the love he's instilled in her, is going to stand her in good stead in days to come. Well, that's where we're going to end on this episode. I invite you to join us for the next episode of For Such a Time, episode in Esther, and that will be entitled The Queen Removed. That is set to publish on Monday, November 23rd at 7 a.m., and will actually be listed as episode number 164 in the Beacon of Hope podcast. Between this time and that publishing, there will be the Sunday morning and the Sunday evening service from Lighthouse Baptist Church published. So look for episode number 164. That'll be the 4th in this series. A queen is chosen. I may have said a queen removed, but a queen is chosen. That will be the next episode, and I invite you to join us for that. Until then, you have a great day and enjoy church this weekend.